All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to another showcase of Touhou Project Mania Cup, our fourth edition. So we're out of the group stage now, and we're back in to introduce another map pool. So now we're gonna have 13 very um I don't know how to say it, but we'll have 13 maps this time. So of course it'll be first to five, and we're only gonna be seeing one band this week. And we have some very interesting picks to show you as well, and kind of a new gimmick, I would say. So in the commentary booth, I'm gonna be Nightkore for here. So we can just kind of kick into it. So here we go, kind of already starting off. Yeah, we're gonna kick off into our ice again. It's gonna be kind of, I would say, kind of follow the same format as our group stage. I do believe 5 rice, 3 allowed, 3 hybrid tiebreaker. But now we can get into rice one, which I do believe this is either gonna be our drum stream pick or a stream pick, kind of following from last week. So the intro, starts off kind of like just to kind of test the fingers of everyone, but it's kind of more what we have in for store for the rest of the map. So now we're kind of getting into more of it. Again, we're going to be kind of following those, I would say, kind of 3 notes, sometimes even 4 note rolls. Again, you're not really seeing much jump streams, so yeah, it's going to be more of a stream-oriented pick. Again, it's only 133 BPM, so nothing really too substantial yet. We're still kind of more on the accuracy-oriented side. And yeah, we do actually see some jumps as well. It's more of a consistency map, I'd say, so kind of gotta get your fingers pretty much all jumped into this. And yeah, it's just gonna be more, I would say, kind of more consistency based. So again, kind of do get into when we do get into the halfway point, I do believe it's gonna be, well, we're gonna have more of a break, I would say. So it's a fairly big break. Well, as in that, it won't really be too long, but kind of to get your fingers back rested before we kind of get into the main beat again. We're just going to be seeing more of those roll jump stream-ish patterns. I would say those favor towards more the stream side compared to more the jump stream. Especially in a pick like this, definitely be tough. Okay, yeah, but we're gonna really be seeing, but we're just gonna be seeing nothing really too special compared to what we've seen for the first Ki. Again, gonna be seeing, I would say, seeing more of those stream. Again, it is fairly consistent snapping, nothing really too substantial outside the kind of maybe some of those 1/4s, maybe 1/6 as well. But that's gonna be kicking off race one. So again, it's still a pretty tough map to act. So kind of one of those picks where you kind of just gotta watch out and see what your opponent really anticipates. So now we can get into our race two. So this is going to be, I'm just waiting for that too. Okay, and Chateku-san, you'll say, and it is mapped by no other than YuEast. So okay, this is going to be our jump stream pick. Again, 203 BPM, which honestly, after group stage, I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to be a reasonable BPM for everyone. Again, we're going to be seeing, out of the intro already, we can see already the hefty amount of one-handed trills. So it's going to be more of a map to test your consistency, especially at that leg clocking in 3 minutes and 19 seconds. We're already getting into it. We're not really slowing down for anyone kind of for that break. But the map is going to be pretty consistent. So enough amount really to test out your consistency, especially now. It's pretty much everything jump stream and trill related. You see that one-hand trills, two-hand trills, and even some split throws as well, which could definitely catch a few players out. But again, it's really just gonna be how well you can really kind of transition in and out of those trills. So it's not really something you can really autopilot a lot, but even though we do have some breaks, it's still gonna be really that jumpsuit that's gonna be kind of putting all those players on their toes. So again, kind of seeing this, it's just gonna be, we're definitely gonna be seeing a lot more one-hand trills, a lot more split trills when we see in the first Ki. But after the first Ki is basically over, it's definitely going to be staying way more away from those trills. Only seeing some trills, especially, actually we do see some two-hand trills as well. We did see from there. So we still have a good bit of the map left, so it's not over yet. Again, we still have the final third, which is going to be it's going to be more consistent difficulty from what we've seen from before. But as we do get into it, we are seeing a lot more of those two-handed trills. We're seeing a lot more of everything, pretty much. A lot more of those split trills, two-hand trills, and that jump stream as well, which does get a bit heavier compared to what we've seen. So here we go. Last quarter now, you know, pretty standard from what we've seen. There's a small bit of a speed up actually as well, so kind of got to adapt to that. And even a couple of hands as well accompanying that. So you can't really just autopilot this, as you know, there's always something new. There's something always around the corner for you to kind of anticipate when you do play a map like this. And with the last 100k score, again, it would not really be too wise to choke here, as it does get a lot. It does seem a lot more trill heavy. But you know, we can just, after that, do get a couple of trills again, just so you don't really autopilot. Again, it's just a map you kind of have to keep your toes pretty much on for the entire map. So that will do it for Rise 2. Now, well, what comes after Rise 2 is Rise 3. Okay, so now we have Rise 3, Alice's Map Tea Party, and it is mapped by no other than Eric Trooper. Fairly prominent map. So Rise 3, I do believe, is going to be more of our... Would this be more of kind of our mixed Rise, maybe technical pick? Or it could be Jax, actually. I'm not pretty sure. But I do believe it does look to be kind of our Jack accuracy pick. So, kind of just seeing it's pretty much your straightforward Jack pick. Again, 184 BPM. I do believe this is snapped a bit lighter though, so maybe around like 90 BPM. Again, not really too fast BPM, but you know, anything can really happen in a pick like this. You know, like, although like the chart does seem fairly easy, you know, you gotta watch out, because you know, easy chart like this means there's not a lot of room for error, and especially now as our first Ki does get a lot more anchory. Again, it is still fairly light, as we're not really seeing much quads, and we actually do get a small break in the middle, which can kind of get players a bit nervous, because you know, kind of seeing the scores in the middle, seeing who's winning, who's not, who breaks combo, and especially in a map like this, you do not want to break combo, especially as this would be more oriented towards the accuracy pick. So V1SS's will probably be very common in a map like this. So yeah, most of the Ki's are just going to be a lot more anchory, as we can see. Getting a lot more of those 4-note long jacks, which again, you're gonna have to kind of be a bit consistent on hitting it, especially with nerves kind of playing a factor. You know, you don't want to early rush on a pick like this, especially how even 200s could change the tide of the match. Now, this map doesn't really get too much difficulty spikes. It's just kind of annoying when the Ki's come in and out, so you can kind of prepare for some of those anchors. But again, just a map you kind of have to be on your toes for the entire map. And as we do get into the last 100k, again, we're not really seeing too much anchors, kind of more of a closing out. So we could potentially just... So would not really be a good place to choke. And there we go, that is going to be Rice 3 finished. And yeah, that's going to be our accuracy pick for this week, so now we can jump into Rice 4. Okay, now we have Vodka Neotonic by Ailsan, and this is going to be our Rice 4. Again, kind of staying more in the mid-length side, only clocking 2.5 minutes. So I do believe this is going to be our mixed rice pick. Again, kind of seeing it. Intro does show a bit of that jump stream. Again, it's going to be more of a test about everything. So, kind of how well you can pretty much play any rice pattern that's thrown at you. So, kind of seeing at the intro, we're actually seeing a fair bit of jump stream accompanied by some of those, I would say, kind of those really dense trills as well. But again, it was kind of more bursty. But kind of judging by a map like this, it's probably going to be kind of your Ki format, where, you know, this kind of builds up to the Ki, then it's going to be the main meat of the drop. But we do see a lot of those two-hand trills actually after the intro, especially in the first third as well. So again, pretty consistent map throughout. We're seeing kind of more those bursty jump stream. Again, it is fairly densely stacked. I do believe a bit of 1/6, even some 1/8 as well. But now we can get into the first Ki, which is definitely going to be a lot more. The jump stream is definitely going to get a bit denser, accompanied by some of those mini jack transitions that you kind of have to watch out for. Not even then, even some of the trills as well. So again, not really on the technical side, but which we actually will be seeing on a Res 5, I do believe. But again, we do kind of get some breaks before we kind of get into the bursting mixed rice parts. So again, pretty light, but again, a few mini jacks as well, accompanied by some jumps. But it's going to be more of our break area, because it does get a bit denser when you do see the ending. Yeah, I actually see a couple of those nasty trills as well, which is going to be kind of hard to transition in and out from. So again, we're just only going to be seeing some jump stream bursts, accompanied by some of those rolls. Again, they're pretty 4-0 heavy. So yeah, we can just get into our last Ki now, which is going to be kind of the same around from what we've seen from our first Ki, near around the halfway point, which is definitely going to be a lot more hand alternating. You can definitely see those left and right hand trills near the end. And yeah, it's going to be a Rice 4. So now we have, well, we have 2 more Rice picks actually. So now we're going to get into our Rice 5 before we do get into our special Rice pick. So it's kind of interesting to see, but when it does come up, I will tell you more about it. Okay, so this is going to be Ikora by Epic 2. I do believe YuEast. So, okay, no, this is going to be more of our pure core jack pick. Kind of already seen by the accuracy, 20 perfects. And this is actually a fun fact, going to be a remake of Flowering Night from Phantasmagoria Fly Review. I don't like Phantasmagoria Fly Review. Okay, no, this is going to be kind of more of a, well, this is going to be more of a technical accuracy pick as well. You know, seeing those jacks, kind of seeing those flams as well. Something kind of to watch out on. Okay, so actually I just kind of got more of an insight. This is actually a scrap map for Touhou Mania Cup 3 as well. So it's kind of a nice fun fact for you. So again, there's going to kind of be more of your technical accuracy, I would say, around. Especially seeing those, you know, going to be pretty trill heavy. And kind of bursty heavy as well. However, the trills are fairly snapped, right, but it's not really something to be kind of scoffing at. Especially as it kind of got those, you know, pretty weird flam bursts as well. It's definitely going to be more, you know, kind of falling into that awkward rhythm, so please do not sight read this. It's definitely a very awkward map. Especially those kind of trails coming to the outro. Being pretty, so I've seen this would definitely give you a hefty advantage. And wow, What a score this is by the replayer. 23 perfect is very impressive. Okay, so that concludes our normal Rise of the Pool. Now we can get into our Rise X, or also known as the Rise Extreme pick. So gonna be these picks are gonna be much harder compared to what we've seen from the rest of the pool. So maybe pick that maybe higher seed teams would like to stay towards, maybe if they were fairly comfortable with the classic Rices from our group stage, or maybe some of the harder Rice picks from the qualifiers as well. So here we are, we're gonna have Magic Girl by map by Alexa. So I'm not really too sure what type of map this is, but we can kind of just get into it. So again, intro fairly simple starting off with some fairly simple jacks, accompanied by some boards and kind of some of those fairly like flaps as well. And maybe this might just be kind of more of an all-round map, just kind of seeing something like this. You know, kind of seeing those jacks transition into, you know, kind of that mixed rice area, which is gonna have some pretty unique jump stream patterns, which is pretty abrasive actually. There's actually a couple of flams also accompanied by this. You know, it's pretty much testing all rice, again, as we have seen from the mixed rice pick. This map is fairly suasive, as you can see kind of the patterns alternating between the left and the right bursts. So Mirror kind of won't really solve your problem too much in that. But as well, you do have some of those forces, again, kind of dumpy as well. As you can see, kind of some of those roll dumps. Kinda is pretty much a map you have to keep on your toes for the entire time. Again, not really much breaks. You could probably consider some of these lighter jacks to be the break, but again, at 156 BPM, it's not really going to be too easy to hack. Okay, so now, again, after the first key, stuff do kind of calm down a small bit. We're kind of seeing those left-right alternating patterns again. You know, nothing really too special before we kind of kick back into the main meat of the map again. So I wouldn't really be saying anything too special until we kind of get into the drop, besides kind of more that transition into it. So yeah, we're going to be seeing pretty much what we've seen from the first drop. However, definitely a lot more rolly, definitely a lot more, pretty much every pattern, a lot more trill oriented as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the second drop. Again, it's still fairly consistent, so if you can kind of handle the first ki, you shouldn't really have too much of a problem within the second or the third ki. So again, it's just a map where it's more, if you're comfortable with one drop, then you're pretty much comfortable with all of them. Again, that's only one factor, because, you know, you have nerves, and it's definitely a different mind space playing in a tournament compared to just playing map alone. So we only have a few notes left, which again I don't believe there is going to be another ki. Well, it's going to be a bit lighter compared to what we've seen for the first two kis. Again, not really going to be too roll heavy, only really seeing those 3-note rolls. But again, kind of managing those jacks in between some of the other rice as well can make it pretty tricky. So yeah, that's going to conclude our rice picks. So now we can get into our hybrids, which we are going to be starting off with hybrid 1. Okay. So we have Touhou Mamayo, which again by the name of the replayer, you might be familiar with this from the first stage of Underjoy's Alandan. So yeah, now we're kind of getting into the hybrid territory, so going to be pretty interesting to see what we do have in store for you guys. So I'm not really too sure, but I do believe hybrid 1 is going to kind of more straight towards more of the LN side. I think we can see already with kind of those pretty unique snapped LNs. Definitely can see it's more kind of the rise fairly coupling it, but I would say there's kind of more of your technical releases, I would say. now we get into the first Kyo, which again is going to be kind of more, can you transition through between those LNs and maybe some of those rice bursts as well. Kind of got a bit of light jump stream between. And all those scattered LNs can definitely make this a pretty tough map to hack. Especially at OD 7.5, while not too necessarily strict, there's just not really a lot of room for error. I mean, besides the map length, of course, being just about under 3 minutes. So you do kind of have a hefty length for this map. So there might be room for a mistake or two. So there's not really much time between the breaks and Kios. Definitely, as we can see now, we're going to be jumping into our second Kyo again. And yeah, please hit that. Please hit that drill. Be detrimental if you did. At least it is an LN drill. So yeah, we're getting kind of more into those releasey type LNs, which is, this map is going to be fairly release heavy. Even you can see those very close free no LN rolls, maybe even near inverse. And we do kind of get more of a, I'd say more of a bigger break again, but kind of some densely snapped trills, some jump stream as well. And it's going to be your fairly simple 180 BPM jump stream, so if you can handle pretty much anything else in the pool, I don't really think this should be much of a problem for anyone who's trying out this map. So now we only do have the last key left in the map, which again, just by the pacing of this map, I do believe it's going to be near around the same. Actually, having more accompanied trills between transitions as well, and even some shields as we have seen from there. So again, the LNs are very close, so we kind of got to watch out. This definitely plays a lot more, this is definitely going to be more of our LN bias map, even probably some technicality as well. Especially as that we have seen some of those shields and mini jacks throughout. And that is going to be our hybrid 1. And you never guess what comes after hybrid 1. If you guess hybrid 2, you're right. It is hybrid 2. Okay, so we have Anze Haman, we have Anze Haman Mo Irano, and it's going to be mapped by Weekly. I hope I pronounced that right. It's actually a cut version as well. So this is going to be our hybrid 2. We don't actually have an extreme hybrid difficulty. I'm not really too sure if we will have one, but kind of for the intro, again, it's going to be, I would say this is probably going to be more of a 50-50 hybrid. Or maybe even LN oriented again. Again, kind of seeing from this, it's definitely a lot denser to compare to what we've seen. Definitely having more of those snappings, but again, it is only OD7, so, you know, it is a bit easier to hack, but there's definitely a lot more LNs to manage, especially kind of seeing some of those, I'd say one of those one-hand LN patterns as well, as we have seen from kind of the first third. But it does kind of alternate between some of the rice as well, accompanying the LNs. So it's something you have to kind of keep your toes on. Again, as I do say, LN hybrid is something you can't, well, especially hybrid, something you can't really autopilot. Because you're kind of trying to focus on some of those rice and LN transitions. But for a good bit of the map, again, the LNs are going to be fairly simple compared to what we've seen from the intro. So again, we're going to still have some fairly simple released LN snappings before we actually do get back into this, which is going to be a lot more scattered LN releases, where we do kind of have a mix between both simple LN releases and kind of more of those tougher ones. And it does, and some of those releases do kind of alternate between each hand. Even then, we can see some of those reverse shields as well, which is something not really to be laughed upon. So I think Mirror could help some people on this map, because I am kind of seeing a small one-hand bias towards kind of more the right angle of this map. But now, as there's not much map left, and there's not really much else to it. Again, the answer is just going to be more of your simple LNs, and actually kind of some of those close touching LNs as well. Near enough to inverse, I would say, but not quite. Again, we're not really at that level yet where we are going to be seeing some of the inverse. But again, kind of just with the outer map, it's going to be fairly simple and repetitive. So, so you can kind of autopilot that a bit more. But again, it's just kind of more something to focus on. So that's going to conclude our hybrids. Now we can actually jump into the LNs. Okay, we have Nightkore Junior by GB Horizon. So I do believe this is going to be more of our coordination oriented pick. So already kind of starting off, again, we're pretty heavy on some of those releases. Again, OD 7.5 at this stage is definitely no joke. So you're getting a lot of heavy elements, kind of not really much gaps to, you know, not really much breathing room really. And you could definitely see that by, you know, kind of maybe some of those very close gap bursts, not really too inversely, but again, different snapping elements kind of gotta be something, you know, you gotta keep your toes on. Could probably synergize well with maybe some of our hybrids as well. So maybe if you are pretty strong on a pick like this, then might not really be too much of a bad shot to kind of play your cards right towards some of the hybrids as well. So again, we're kind of seeing a release of a lot of different coordination LN, you know, a lot of scatters, some short LNs, some long LNs, you know, kind of something you kind of got to focus, because kind of managing that 4-lane, kind of managing those 4-lane LNs, not really too easy, but you know, as we kind of get to the halfway point, we're kind of getting back into it. Again, kind of some of those, I would say some of those more anchored LNs before, you know, kind of getting to that second key, kind of just to test the waters a small bit again. So yeah, now we're going to be getting into the final coordinates map, which I am pretty sure it's going to be, I would say, more fairly similar to what we've seen from the first area of the map. Again, actually kind of seeing more of those denser coordination areas, especially now that they're longer as well, which near enough to inverse, I would say. So kind of something to watch it on. You don't really want to be finding a lot of 200s here, because all of this map is not really going to be too easy to come up, especially with some of those short LN density bursts near the end as well. Yikes, that is a pretty tough inverse. That is a pretty tough inverse. Yeah, you gotta be on your toes for this entire map. And now it's gonna be our LN1. And actually, as a matter of fact, we do have our LN Extreme pick as well. So I do believe it's only gonna be our Rice and LN for now. For that, do have the Extreme picks. So Hybrid I don't think is in the water yet, but I'm not too sure. So now with LN1 done, we can kind of get into LN2. So you probably know this map. So this is going to be Paranoid Lost, and this is going to be more of a density pick. Kind of already seeing, you can see throughout the map. So it's a fairly popular ranked mania map. Well, not this difficulty. Well, not this map, but this song it does have a popular ranked alliteration. Fairly easy to DT for a lot of players as well. So already kind of seeing this map is not really much of it. This map is kind of just showing what, you know, players should be capable of at this difficulty. Already coming in with a lot of density areas, especially some of those rolls, and a lot of long LNs accompanying the short LNs as well, especially some of those LN trills. So again, 235, we're just going to kind of stray towards, I would say, more the longer end of some of these picks, but not really something to laugh at as well. Again, density would probably suit more those players who, you know, aren't really too confident in the LN accuracy and kind of get into that transition. We do see a couple of those LN split frills as well, which you gotta watch out for, because definitely finding a combo break on one down would be detrimental, as it's pretty hard to recover from them. But as we can kind of see, again, we kind of have those different snapped but fairly still simple-ish LNs, and again, this is kind of more managing that free lane on some of those vocals as well, especially as we can kind of see from there. But this map kind of goes by pretty fast. That, you know, it's kind of more of an in and out situation. It feels a bit longer, but trust me, it's not really going to be too long when you're actually playing it. Again, there's not really much. There's a lot happening in this map, so it's kind of got to be something you got to keep your eyes on pretty much for the entire thing. Again, there's not much map left, only around 200k map, 200k scored in map left, which again, we're not really going to be seeing too much of another Ki, but we do kind of get a last burst near the end. Kind of more to, you know, kind of what you're, just kind of last minute test again. Again, it's not really like the full version of this map where, you do have 2 drops instead of just 1. But now, as we do get to the end, we're going to be seeing some of those Ellen trails that we have seen before before we've seen the main drop as well. So that's going to be our LN2. So now we're going to be getting into our LN3. Okay, so we have Adieu to this lively graveyard. And this is going to be our, I'd say this is going to be more of our wildcard pick. And here we go. So we can kind of already see, pretty jazzy map, I would say. But the intro is fairly simple on a lot of those LNs. Again, mostly the same snapping, but again, we have seen some kind of heavier sides. Again, not really much gaps for some of these. But now we kind of get into a kind of our mix of coordination and density as well, but already. Again, the BPM is fairly low, only at 115. But with stuff like that, we'd probably be more prominent to seeing kind of dense snappings. And even some short shields as well, as we have seen from there. Kind of more of a mix of everything, pretty much. That is pretty much what Hybrid is supposed to be. And you gotta watch out on some of those shorter elements as well. Again, only at OD 7.5. It's, I would say, kind of more average in the accuracy side, but again, you don't really want to be front off of it, especially you can't really autopilot this and, expect to get out scot-free. So it's kind of something you can kind of keep your eyes on for the entire thing. So again, kind of heading into the main Ki at the first half, kind of seeing some of those jump streams, jump streams, some of those LN jump streams, some of those weirdish LN releases as well, mix of everything, and even some of those shields as well, even some of those mini LN shields as well. Again, this map is kind of long. Again, with the slower BPM, it definitely does tell you about pretty much the length of this map. Again, if you were to play a faster map, then it's kind of more of a blink of an eye. Then you'd be like, oh, what? It can't play that fast? But no, it doesn't. But now, as we kind of get into the final quarter, it does get a bit. We actually do get a bit of a speed up and a bit more denser snapping. So we can definitely see more of those technical LN releases, which not really. Again, all different snappings before we do get into the last quarter of the map. So not much map left, and again, we're just going to be seeing this map is just more of a consistency map compared to kind of more bursty. But again, it does kind of have those parts where of course it's going to be harder than the non-course parts, pretty much. So it's kind of more of a test to see, well, are you capable of playing those dense parts while being fairly consistent throughout the whole map? Because a miss anywhere could be pretty fatal. So that's going to conclude our LN3, and now we're going to get into our LNX pick. So again, LNX is going to be our harder pick compared to all the others. And this is actually going to be our last main pick as well, before we do get into the tiebreaker. So here we are, we're going to be getting into Necromantic by Portrayer. Or Portaire. So definitely kind of a bit more of a spike compared to what we've seen. Again, I won't be too surprised that this is going to be more of a wildcard oriented LN pick as well, kind of more to test everything. Because we can definitely already see kind of more the speed up compared to everything else you've seen. It actually does speed up a bit more, especially seeing those shields as well. Definitely will be pretty tough for some players to transition into the faster speed. Even the few 200s as well. Again, transitions and LNs are pretty hard to, wrap your head around a small bit. But as we can kind of see for this map, again, the releases are kind of more mixed. Sometimes you do have some of the same snappings. Sometimes the LN releases are kind of a bit more unique, I would say. This is fairly abrasive though, because some of those one-hand releases are alternate between each hand. You can definitely kind of see it more the longer LN. I wouldn't say LN trills, but it's kind of more of a stop-go type of thing. You know, you kind of start on the one hand, end the one hand, and then start on the other hand, end on the other hand. So, kind of something to kind of keep your eye on around. Again, this is definitely just going to be more. I wouldn't really say it's too much more physical. It's just kind of more how prominent are you on, you know, being capable to play faster LN. Well, it is a bit more physical, of course. But now we actually do get into some pretty dense LN, like not really much gaps. Near enough to inverse, but not quite. But now we only have the last quarter left, and it is going to be kind of following the same structure as we have seen from the previous Kias. And kind of getting in, we do have kind of a mini jack shield transition as well. And kind of getting that small break in before we do get into the final Ki. And yeah, here we go. Final drop is going to kind of be more around the same from what we've seen from the previous two Kias. Actually, it's going to be, it's going to kind of alternate between some of those Rice and LN patterns, but you kind of got to watch out for some of those bursts as well, pretty dense bursts, which is actually near enough to coordinate, near enough to inverse as well. So, especially that being at the end of the map, we could potentially see a couple of chokes through there. And that is going to be concluding our LN picks and our final regular pick of the map. Now we can jump into the tiebreaker. So here we are. Here No Alien Nightkore Remix is going to be our tiebreaker again by Portayer. So again, 4 minutes long and 5.14 stars. Definitely a jump up from the star rating and length. Going to be our longest map as well. I mean, it is tiebreaker, so you know what you can expect for it. Also being at 184 BPM as well. Definitely a step up on some of the BPM compared to our LNs and hybrids. So pretty much after kind of what's seeing here, already pretty much testing a lot of your skills. Again, kind of containing a lot of those shields near, you know, kind of the first main area of the map. Again, some also pretty dense-ish LNs as well. And even seeing some Rice mini jacks as well. Again, at 184 BPM, this is definitely not an easy task to act as well. And as we kind of get into the middle area as well, we're seeing kind of a lot more of those kind of stop and go-ish patterns with some of those LN flams, a couple of scatters around the place. And who can guess what this is the remix of? If you guessed, Galaxy, well, not Galaxy Collapse. I forgot what game this came from actually. Still 12? That was, I had no idea. Someone correct me on that. My total knowledge is washed. Okay, but after kind of seeing that first quarter, you know, kind of get into that small breaking bit, you know, a few very light jacks, accompanied by, you know, some flabs. Again, should be fairly simple for all players to kind of cover. And here we go, kind of getting into that bit, a couple of mini jacks to kind of start us off before we get into the second area. Again, very technical releases, as we are seeing. Bit of awkward snappings as well. Somewhat 6 maybe, somewhat 8 LN as well. Seeing just a lot of those flams for the Rice and LN as well, and some of those shields. This map you kind of have to be on your toes for the entire time, especially at that BPM, especially that 184 BPM range. You cannot really be sleeping on this map. So, it's gonna be, despite that, it's still gonna be, you know, not really too much of a difficulty spike compared to what we've seen from the start. Again, definitely a small step up, but you know, it's kind of really to be expected. But now, as we do get through that, again, it's kind of a map you can kind of break into segments. It's more drop, break, drop, break, drop, break. So kind of break this map into small little bite-sized chunks. So, you know, you can kind of... It's kind of good to anticipate what's coming up next. And again, don't cyber this, please. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the flams coming up. And here we go, kind of into the last quarter now. Kind of seeing some of those pretty fairly unique snapped LNs. Some of them on the same column, some of them on the same timing, some of them on different timings. But now we can kind of get into our last quarter. So, kind of getting into that build up, we're going to be seeing some of those more mini jacks, even some hands as well. And yeah, even then, some of those trills and some of those jump streams where we kind of get into it, gonna be more oriented around the short LNs, accompanying some long LNs as well, and some jacks. Kind of pretty much testing a lot more of your technical LN, kind of more of your density as well. And just seeing from here. So, not really gonna be. It's definitely gonna be a map to watch out to kind of hold your act on. Again, kind of having more of those dense-ish LM bursts as well, accompanied by kind of more of that broken-esque jump stream, and a lot more of those flams as well. Going to be more the technical side of the tiebreaker. And here we are, last 100k of the map, which is going to kind of be more of your outro, containing some of those reverse shields and some of those flams as well. Do not choke here, please. Although, it will kind of be... Although we won't only probably be seeing only a few selected tiebreakers with this, because it is fairly uncommon to see tiebreaker in some tournaments. But as we do kind of get into the last jump stream burst, that is going to be concluding our map pool at a tiebreaker. So that is going to be it for our Round of 32 showcase. So it's going to be following pretty straightforward format. So I'm going to just whip it up here. Okay. So all around the 32 matches kind of follow the seeding. So it's going to be, you know, C1 versus 32, C2 versus 31. You can check the bracket later, see who you are facing, and you can actually. I'm not really too sure about it. I'm not really too familiar myself. You kind of some of the seeding placements. So pretty much just kind of look and see who you're facing. So you can kind of anticipate it. So I do believe now. So that's going to be our showcase. So not really much else to say really, but good luck, have fun next week, and you know, get your schedules in. You know, kind of get yourself a win onto Mappools, and then we can close off. Again, I've been Nightkore, and just like that, good luck, have fun, and take care.